Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about the future, most people still look towards America. They say, if you want success, follow Silicon Valley. But let me tell you, today, the winds of change are blowing, and they are blowing towards India. The future is not American. The future is Indian. When we look at the strength of a nation, we often talk about GDP, infrastructure, or military power. But the real power of any country lies in its people. Numbers tell a story, and India's numbers are extraordinary. More than 65% of the population is under the age of 35. That means India is not just a country with a large population. It is a country with a young population, a country with energy, a country with dreams. Youth are like fuel for the future, and India is sitting on a mountain of it. If you compare this with other major economies, the difference becomes clear. In many developed countries, populations are aging. In America, Europe, Japan, even in China, the average age is climbing higher every year. An aging society means fewer workers, slower innovation, higher healthcare costs, and less appetite for risk. But India is the opposite. It is a young society bursting with ideas, energy, and a desire to change the world. The people of India are not looking backward, they are looking forward. That is the greatest advantage any country can have. A young nation is naturally ambitious. When you are young, you are not afraid of failure. You fall down, you get back up, and you try again. This spirit is written into the DNA of India's youth. Look at the number of students graduating from engineering colleges, business schools, and universities every single year. Millions of young Indians are stepping out into the world with fresh ideas, bold ambitions, and endless energy. And they are not waiting for opportunities to come. They are creating opportunities. Energy is one thing, but scale is another. When you combine both, you create transformation. Imagine one entrepreneur in America building a company that serves 10 million people. That's impressive. But imagine a young entrepreneur in India creating a product that reaches 100 million or even 500 million users. In India, the scale of impact is beyond imagination. The sheer number of young people ready to adopt new ideas makes India a laboratory of innovation on a scale that no other country can match. What is also special about Indian youth is their hunger. Many of them come from families where opportunities were limited, where resources were scarce. When you grow up with less, you dream of more. You learn to fight for every chance, every step forward. That hunger is what drives innovation. That hunger is what drives change. It is not comfort that creates breakthroughs. It is the desire to rise, to prove, to build. And India has millions of such hungry minds ready to shape the future. Let me give you a picture. In a village somewhere in India, there is a young student who doesn't have the best facilities, who maybe studies under a streetlight because the electricity is unreliable. But that same student is connected to the internet through a mobile phone, learning online, exploring the world, dreaming of creating something new. This story is repeated millions of times across the country. Every one of those young dreamers is a potential innovator, a potential entrepreneur, a potential leader. When you multiply that potential by hundreds of millions, you understand why the future is Indian. The most powerful advantage is not just numbers, but mindset. Today's Indian youth do not want to simply work for others. They want to build for themselves. They want to create companies, design technologies, and launch ideas that can change the world. In the past, the dream was to get a stable job, maybe even to go abroad for opportunities. But now the dream is shifting. The dream is to build something in India to solve Indian problems and then take those solutions global. This is a mindset that transforms a country from being a participant in the global economy to being a leader of it. And don't underestimate the creativity of young people in India. They are not afraid to mix tradition with technology, local wisdom with modern tools. They can take an ancient problem and solve it with artificial intelligence. They can take rural challenges and address them with mobile apps. They can take the smallest idea and turn it into something the whole world notices. Creativity thrives when people are young, curious, and unafraid, and India has that at a scale unmatched anywhere else. When people talk about technology, they often look at the United States. They say Silicon Valley is the center of the digital world, and yes, it has created giants that have shaped our lives. But what is happening in India today is something very different, something far more powerful, because it is not just about technology, it is about technology at scale. India is not simply consuming digital tools, it is reinventing how digital growth works when 1 billion people are involved. That changes the entire equation of what technology can do for a country and for the world. Take a simple example. Mobile payments. In America, credit cards have been dominant for decades, and digital payments are convenient but not revolutionary. In India, a country where hundreds of millions of people never had credit cards, mobile payments through systems like UPI have transformed the way money moves. A vegetable seller on the street, a rickshaw driver, a farmer in a village. All of them can now accept payments digitally. This is not a story of luxury. This is a story of necessity turned into innovation. When you connect digital finance to every layer of society, you don't just make life easier, you create inclusion. That is the real power of digital revolution at scale. Education is another area where this revolution is visible. In many parts of the world, online education is a choice, an option for those who want flexibility. In India, it has become a lifeline. Millions of students in small towns and villages now have access to the same knowledge that was once locked inside big universities and expensive schools. They are learning coding, science, mathematics, business, all through a phone screen. And when millions of young minds get access to knowledge simultaneously, the speed of transformation is something no other country has ever experienced. It is like compressing decades of progress into just a few years. Healthcare tells a similar story. In countries like America, healthcare technology often means advanced machines in expensive hospitals. In India, digital healthcare means connecting doctors to remote villages through telemedicine, diagnosing patients through AI-driven apps, and delivering medicine using e-commerce platforms. It is not about building more luxury hospitals in cities. It is about solving the problem of access for hundreds of millions who live far away. That kind of innovation, born out of necessity and scale, creates solutions that the whole world can learn from. When you have 1 billion people connected, even the smallest idea becomes huge. A mobile app in the United States may reach a few million users if it is successful. In India, the same app can have 50 million or 100 million users in a short time. That kind of scale means businesses grow faster. Ideas spread quicker, and innovation happens continuously. The numbers alone force entrepreneurs to think differently. They cannot just build for one group, they must build for everyone. This inclusive approach, driven by scale, is something that gives India an edge no other country enjoys right now. The most exciting part of this digital revolution is how it blends with India's diversity. India is not one market. It is hundreds of markets with different languages, cultures, and habits. Technology in India does not just have to solve problems at scale, it has to solve them in multiple ways for different communities. That is why Indian entrepreneurs are becoming so skilled at customization. They are building products that can adapt, that can reach the rich and the poor, the urban and the rural, the English-speaking professional and the farmer who has never used a computer before. This flexibility, this adaptability, makes Indian digital solutions ready to travel anywhere in the world. The story of India's digital growth is not just about convenience. It is about transformation. A farmer who sells his produce through an app instead of a middleman earns more for his family. A small shopkeeper who starts selling online can suddenly access customers across the country. A student in a rural town who learns programming online can compete for jobs that were once only available to those in big cities. Multiply these individual transformations by hundreds of millions, and you understand the scale of change happening. And remember, this digital revolution is not limited to technology companies. It is changing manufacturing, logistics, retail, agriculture, finance, entertainment. Every part of the economy is being reshaped. Startups are rising everywhere, not just in Bangalore or Delhi, but in smaller cities that were never on the global map before. This shows that the digital wave is not a luxury for a few, but a foundation for the entire nation. When you look at the progress of any society, it is not measured by how it performs, when everything is perfect. It is measured by how people move forward, when everything seems difficult. India's greatest strength is not that it has all the resources or perfect systems. It is that Indians have learned to succeed despite the lack of them. Resilience and adaptability are written into the daily lives of people in India, and that is what makes the country's future so powerful. If you walk through any busy street in India, you will see 1,000 small challenges happening at once. The traffic is chaotic. Electricity may cut off without warning. Internet speed may slow down when you need it most, yet life continues without pause. People adjust, they find solutions on the spot, and they keep moving forward. This habit of facing obstacles daily does something extraordinary. It trains an entire population to be flexible, creative, and solution-driven. In business and innovation, this resilience is gold. Most successful entrepreneurs in the world are not the ones who had smooth journeys. They are the ones who survived storms. In India, storms are a part of everyday life. From bureaucracy to infrastructure, from unpredictable regulations to limited resources, young Indians have grown up in an environment where nothing comes easily. And instead of stopping them, it has shaped them into problem solvers. They learn early that waiting for perfect conditions is useless, so they build with what they have, and often that creates solutions that are smarter and more efficient than what you see in developed countries with endless resources. Consider how small businesses work in India. A street vendor may not have a shop, a credit card machine, or even stable electricity, but they will find a way to run their business every day. They will use a small battery lamp at night. They will take digital payments through a QR code printed on a piece of paper. They will arrange supply chains using nothing more than a mobile phone. This is not luxury entrepreneurship. This is survival entrepreneurship, and it builds a mindset that is unstoppable when given more tools and opportunities. The same applies to young professionals and students. Many of them study in crowded classrooms with limited infrastructure, sometimes with outdated equipment, yet they find ways to compete globally. They self-learn online. They practice through projects. They collaborate with peers. And by the time they graduate, they are ready to adapt to any environment. This is why so many Indians thrive when they go abroad. They have already been trained by a system that forces them to adapt every single day. For them, challenges are not roadblocks. They are part of the process. Resilience also comes from culture. India is a land of immense diversity. Languages, religions, traditions, and lifestyles change every few kilometers. To live in such a society, people must learn tolerance, flexibility, and adjustment. This cultural adaptability makes Indians quick learners of new environments, new technologies, and new markets. When the world changes suddenly, as it often does, Indians are already used to change. They do not panic. They adjust and continue. Innovation grows fastest in places where problems exist because necessity pushes creativity. India's problems are real: urban congestion, rural poverty, environmental challenges, infrastructure gaps. But these very challenges are pushing entrepreneurs to design unique solutions. An Indian startup working on clean energy is not doing it for luxury. It is doing it because millions of people still lack reliable electricity. A startup designing low-cost healthcare solutions is not just chasing profit. It is responding to a real need. This direct connection between challenge and innovation creates a culture of entrepreneurship that is more grounded, more practical, and more sustainable than the one you see in economies where problems are fewer. And resilience is not just about individuals, it is about communities. In many parts of India, people come together to solve problems collectively. Villages build water, sharing systems. Neighborhoods create local transport solutions. Students form learning groups. Families support each other financially. This community-driven resilience strengthens the social fabric and ensures that even when systems fail, people do not. Such social adaptability ensures that the country keeps moving forward even when official structures are slow. The world is changing at a speed faster than ever before. Technologies shift, markets evolve, global crises disrupt economies. In such a world, the nations that will lead are not the ones with the most stability, but the ones with the most adaptability. India's history of thriving in uncertainty, of creating solutions in chaos, of moving forward when conditions are never perfect, has prepared it uniquely for this kind of future. The ability to endure difficulty and turn it into opportunity is not a skill India is trying to learn. It is a skill India already lives every day. One of the most unique strengths of India lies in the way its people combine a global mindset with deep local roots. This combination is not common, and it is one of the reasons why the future points towards India. To understand this, you only need to look at the presence of Indians across the world. They are running some of the largest technology companies, shaping policies, leading research, and driving innovation at a global level. Yet when you speak with them, you will find that their connection to their country, to their traditions, to their families, and to their roots remains strong. This dual perspective gives them an advantage that few others have. A global mindset allows people to think beyond borders. It means they are not restricted by what is happening in their own country alone, but they see the world as a marketplace, a classroom, and a stage. Indians have been traveling, working, and studying abroad for decades, And through this, they have learned to operate in different systems, adapt to different cultures, and understand how global business works. But at the same time, the connection to their homeland has never faded. This creates leaders and innovators who can bring global best practices into India and also take Indian solutions to the world. You can see this in the way Indian professionals rise in global companies. From technology giants to financial institutions, from consulting firms to universities, Indians have proven their ability to succeed anywhere. This is not by accident. It comes from being raised in an environment of diversity at home. When you grow up switching between languages, adjusting to different traditions, and navigating a society of contrasts, it prepares you to adapt to any international environment with ease. This cultural training makes Indians quick learners and strong leaders in foreign settings. But what makes this story even more powerful is that the flow of ideas is not one way. Indians abroad do not just absorb knowledge and stay disconnected. They send back remittances, they share expertise, they mentor startups, they invest in local businesses, and they bring their global exposure back home. This creates a constant exchange of ideas and capital between India and the rest of the world. It is like a bridge that keeps growing stronger. Few countries enjoy this kind of global diaspora advantage at such a scale. At the same time, local roots keep the focus grounded. An Indian entrepreneur may build a product that is inspired by global design, but they will ensure it solves the problems of Indian customers. They may adopt global technologies, but they will adapt them to the local context. They may speak English fluently in boardrooms, but at home they will still speak their mother tongue. This balance allows India to innovate in a way that is relevant to both local and international markets. A product built for Indian challenges often has the potential to succeed in other developing countries as well, because the struggles are similar. This is how Indian innovations can scale beyond borders. Take the example of digital payment systems or affordable healthcare solutions coming out of India. These are not just for Indian citizens, they are blueprints for the world. Countries in Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America are looking at these models and realizing they can adopt similar approaches. This is the benefit of a mindset that thinks globally but builds locally. It ensures that the solutions are not isolated luxuries. They are scalable answers to shared challenges across nations. The Indian way of staying connected to family and culture also plays a big role. In many parts of the world, when individuals succeed, they focus only on themselves. In India, success is often seen as a responsibility. People lift their families, support their communities, and give back to society. This creates a cycle where progress is multiplied rather than concentrated. A young professional who succeeds abroad may invest in a school in their hometown. A global CEO of Indian origin may fund scholarships for students back home. This constant reinforcement of roots keeps the bond alive and makes progress collective. Even within India, the mindset is global. Young people are not only consuming Hollywood or Silicon Valley ideas, they are creating their own and mixing them with local flavors. You see music that blends traditional instruments with global beats. Films that compete on international platforms while telling deeply Indian stories, and startups that use artificial intelligence to solve local agricultural issues. This confidence to blend global and local is shaping a new identity for India. One that is outward, looking but inwardly proud. In a world where isolation and protectionism are growing, The ability to connect globally while staying rooted locally is rare. Many nations are either deeply inward, focused, or fully globalized to the point of losing identity. India is managing to do both at once. This balance creates resilience, adaptability, and influence. It creates people who are comfortable leading in New York, London, or Singapore, but equally comfortable building solutions in Bangalore, Jaipur, or Patna. It creates companies that can compete internationally, but still understand the needs of the smallest Indian town. And it creates a society that is ambitious enough to want to shape the future, yet humble enough to stay connected to its traditions and values.